Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Wilson. I'm a third-year medical student at UAB on the Huntsville campus. I'm a LC rep, and I'm a member of the Medical Education Continuous Quality Improvement Committee. I'm here today with Dr. Craig Hoesley and Elizabeth Rahn to talk about the CQI efforts in the School of Medicine. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining and talking to me about the CQI efforts. How are you doing today?
Hi, Anthony. Thanks for doing this. We appreciate it.
Hey, Anthony. Thanks for inviting us.
Sure. Happy to be here. So can we first go into exactly what is the CQI and why was it instituted?
Well, I'll start. CQI is the Continuous Quality Improvement Committee. This is something that we've been thinking about for a couple of years, largely and initially because the LCME, which is our, as you know, our accrediting body for all U.S. medical schools, modified their standards to include an element around continuous quality improvement, which is, I think, a really good modification to the standards. Their initial intent in doing that was that it would force schools to continuously look at the standards, even as they evolve, in between, site visits, which are usually every 7 to 8 years or so. So to kind of stay on top of those standards, and really look at your school carefully, make changes as needed to meet the standards overall. But for us as a school, we certainly saw it as a way to just get better and allow us to, in a more organized way, kind of look at data and do it, not just with administration and medical education, but do it with students and with faculty to get feedback. And then importantly, have that information flow back to our stakeholders, which are our students and our faculty, in the School of Medicine overall. So we were, pleased to see that standard come out from the LCME, and it's something that we've been thinking about. And in doing that, we needed to identify someone to run that process. And we fortunately found Dr. Liz Rahn to chair that committee and really to build it from the ground up, recruit the appropriate individuals to participate on that committee, and then build out an agenda, with that group, certainly around the standards. But there's other things that we want to focus on beyond just the LCME standards, because again, the primary goal is for us to get better as a school, and this is a really an effective way, we believe, to do that.
Definitely. Liz, would you be able to go into what are some of the changes that have come about from the CQI and what exactly the meetings look like on a month-to-month basis?
Sure. First, I'll start a little bit thinking about the committee structure. So as Dr. Hoesley mentioned, it's inclusive of a lot of different stakeholders who are involved in medical education. So we have individuals who have had leadership roles in the MEC, so the medical education curriculum. We have individuals who actually work in the hospital setting, clerkship directors, module directors, representative from ODI, so the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. We have those who function as LC or learning community mentors. And then we also importantly have students. As you know, you were one of our 2 students who are in the inaugural year. So we last academic year met for 1 hour at the last Friday of every month, and we discussed different areas that are important to the LCME. So the LCME, as our accrediting body, is actually interested in the whole of medical education. So it encompasses a lot of different areas for the whole school. It's not just about the curriculum, it's about the space, it's about a lot of different areas. And with that, we looked at making evidence-based recommendations. So to review the evidence, we looked at information that was collected for our upcoming LCME reaccreditation efforts, but in addition, those AAMC surveys. So I know students are asked to complete those after they matriculate, after their second year, after their graduating year, and they may wonder, well, what happens with all of that data? This committee really dug into that data and that information to make recommendations around improvements. And I know you asked for an example, and I can think of a couple of examples that might be relevant for students. So one of the areas that we looked at was the learning environment and student mistreatment, which of course the administration takes very seriously. And in looking through that and working with Dr. Van Wagner, We've made some changes that are upcoming to the reported structure and how that information will be released to students. So we're working with module directors, clerkship directors to integrate that information into syllabi as part of orientation so that students have some comfort in understanding both the policies that are in place, but what they can do if they witness or experience mistreatment personally. Beyond that, we're working with Dr. James Willig and Dr. Kevin Leon. We're really excited about this for clinical education and revamping a new platform. So an actual dashboard where students, clerkship directors, administration can go in and look at information. That's in the process. It's going to take a little while to build out, but I hope that students will be appreciative of having a one-stop shop where they can go in and look at information around their EPAs and other areas of assessment.
Yeah, it's really exciting for me to be on the other side of things where I can see the recommendations that the CQI gave to individual committees and say, okay, our voices are actually being heard. And so I think that is one of the major benefits of the CQI committee is to really take all of that data and, like you said, use evidence-based suggestions to say, okay, this is the way that the school should be going in each of these different areas. Could you guys think of any other benefits that it could develop for the students over the next year as it continues to evolve? Because I know that there were some changes made from the first year to kind of streamline things into the second year.
I think, one of the areas that, we are working on, and ultimately I think will come under the microscope of the CQI committee is really clinical skills, curricula development, and then assessment. In the absence of the required USMLE Step 2 clinical skills exam, we have been, planning and building out a more rigorous clinical skills curriculum, particularly in the third year. We actually couldn't launch it because of COVID. So this is the first year that it's coming out, and we'll be looking at, the data from that very carefully. And I think it's something that's going to be really important for the school and for the students, because every residency program is going to be looking for some objective information that says, hey, this individual student has met the competencies and that school's objectives for clinical skills development. That's the CS kind of checked that box previously, but in its absence, we do need to deliver that information in a meaningful way to every residency program that our students apply to. Certainly our medical education committee is going to be looking at this curriculum, but I think also the CQI committee will bring, kind of an additional assessment to that, particularly as it relates to, our students on every campus is, getting the appropriate experiences and getting adequately prepared, for these assessments moving forward. So I think that's something that we'll see moving ahead. The other thing is that we're doing a lot of renovations to the building, to Voker Hall. Trying to build out more modern, flat learning space that can be used in a flexible manner, small, large group, et cetera. But what's the impact of that investment on those changes in terms of, have we modified the curriculum effectively, to fully utilize that space? Have we provided the faculty development opportunities so that all of our educators, particularly in the preclinical curriculum, are positioned well to teach in that format as opposed to in the large lecture halls, which we've been doing, for decades overall. So I think that our CQI committee will be very helpful, in that area. That's just a couple of examples that I think, will be in the pipeline here in the next, 12 months or so.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's super important from the clinical aspect because we do get such a phenomenal clinical education here, but how do we convey that? And I think that having the CQI's eyes on that is going to be super important for the years to come. I think that's all the questions I had for you guys today. I want to thank you both for coming and talking to me a little bit about the CQI and what they do, what they're about. And we really appreciate all the work that you guys do for us.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.